Hi, hi Ned. My name's Sarah. Um, I'm gonna make a small video series um, about a couple different things. Has to do with some things I've gone through. Excuse my animals walking in the background. It's my story. Chapter 1 is um, about how I went to the psych ward in January of 2016. So I'm just going to read off what I wrote here, and each video will be another chapter to my story. It says, so there I was, sitting alone in my room, staring at a blank wall with tears streaming down my face. I knew what I was doing as I consciously took one pill after another. In between taking the pills, I was scrambling online to find out how many pills I needed to take to get the job done. I read so many different things. By the time I had gotten to pill number 24, I started to realize what I had done. My head started spinning, my hands started shaking, and I frantically texted my friend and told her, I need you to take me to the hospital ASAP. Looking at this small instance in time, you may be wondering, what could lead someone to do this? Was it a recent breakup, self-loathing issues, stress from school? Well, little did I know the underlying reasons that would lead me to this. I knew I suffered from depression and anxiety, but why? This is my story. I got in my friend's car and we sat in silence. She asked me what was going on, and I told her I had taken 24 pills and had tried to kill myself. This was not the first time, but this is the first time I sought help. But we'll get back to that later. She kind of got mad and started raising her voice, asking me, why the hell would you do that? When we got to the hospital, we walked into the ER and I went to check myself in. I remember walking up to the receptionist and she of course asked me what was going on. I responded with, I took too many pills. She then looked up at me and asked, on purpose? And I embarrassedly replied, yeah, unfortunately. She walked me back in a room where I sat and waited for what seemed to be an eternity. They drew my blood, but that was all they really did for me. I thought taking that many pills they would give me something to take or pump my stomach or something, but all they did was draw my blood and test it. I finally was able to call my parents, and that took them probably about an hour to let me call my parents and tell them I was in the ER. Seeing as they pay for my insurance, they would see an ER bill, so I had to tell them what was going on, or otherwise I'd get questions later. I called my mom at around 2 a.m. and had to tell them I was in the emergency room. When they asked me, why, what's going on, I had to tell them the truth, that I had tried to commit suicide. Now, when I tell you that telling your parents you tried to commit suicide, that is one of the most difficult things I have ever done. We were on the phone and I could hear their voices breaking and thoughts scrambling as they had so many questions. They lived in India at the time and I was up in Muncie, so they rushed the hour-and-a-half drive to the hospital. When they got there, we cried, we fought, and we waited. When they got there, they were asking me, why would you do this? What's going on? Talk to us, blah blah blah. And I really didn't have much to say. They didn't really understand why I would try to do this. This instance was pretty recent after a breakup, so they thought it had to do with that, which it didn't. That instance kind of just set off what the underlying issue was, but it had nothing to do with that. So they were both very confused because since high school I've had suicidal thoughts, and I don't anymore, thank goodness, but since high school I had suicidal thoughts and no one knew but me. I never talked to anybody about it. So they had no idea what was going on, and I wish I would have talked to someone about it sooner so things wouldn't have escalated, but I was 16, 17 years old and just didn't want to talk to anybody about it. I didn't want to be questioned. I didn't want to be embarrassed. But the only person I talked to about my suicidal thoughts was my friend. I don't want to say her name because I don't know if she would want me to, but once we got to college is when I first started talking to someone about how I have had these thoughts before and all of that. Anyways, so when we were at the hospital, we had to wait until I could be assessed by the psych doctor. When I was finally assessed, they asked me a laundry list full of questions about different ways I feel and different things like that, and I was honestly trying to just answer them so I could get the heck out of there. But I answered them, trying to just brush away what happened like it was no biggie, just let me go home. They told me to be a few, and they were going to get me another room that wasn't in the ER just for a further physical exam for like the pills that I had taken. So we waited for hours while they were getting this other room ready. And they came back and said the room was ready, and they made me take a wheelchair for some reason. And I was like, I don't really need one, but hospitals do that anyways. So they moved me back through this never-ending cold hallway. I'm sitting in a hospital gown. My parents are following me. I have a lap full of clothing, and my parents had brought me like my laptop and stuff so I could do schoolwork because I was in college at the time. And as we were walking, a police officer was kind of guiding us back to wherever we were going, which I thought was weird anyways. So I was like, well, maybe it's just because of what had happened or because my parents were with me. I had no idea what was going on. They never told my parents, they never told me. And they were with me, my parents were with me, and all of a sudden we turned a corner and we just stopped at an elevator. And I was like, okay, we're just going whatever to the second floor, wherever like the non-emergency rooms are. And they were like, oh, you can't have your computer, you can't have this, you can't have that, and you can't have your purse, your parents can't come with you, all this stuff. So they completely blindsided me, and I was confused. I had no idea what was going on. We were all just a hot mess, like, what is going on? Tell us what's going on. And I was like, where are you taking me? And my parents sat there teary-eyed holding all my stuff because I couldn't take anything with me. And we got in the elevator. Sorry. It was so scary, and the doors shut, and I was in there alone with one other doctor and a police officer. I was like, where the heck are we going? And we went up to like the third or fourth floor, I don't remember, and the doors open, and I look out, and it's just a psych ward. I looked out, and to the right was a receptionist desk. To the front were like tables. There was like 3 windows, and then to the left was a huge long hallway. There was someone like locked up in this padded cell down here, like banging on a window. It was terrifying. I'm messing up my makeup. And they just like took all my stuff from me. I was alone. I wasn't warned. So think about if you are already in this mental state where you should take your own life, and then they escort you to some place that you have no idea where you're going with these strange people, and then they take all your stuff from you. Something needs to change about that, because that was absolutely horrifying. They took all my stuff. I couldn't have any personal belongings. They gave me like a toothbrush and like deodorant that I had to keep up there, and then when I wanted to brush my teeth or take a shower, I had to do it and then bring that stuff back. So that was really inconvenient. All the showers were cold. It was terrible. Anyways, getting back to when I walked in, they brought me into this room, and they were like, you can have your phone for like 0.5 seconds. I was like, I don't know anyone's number off the top of my head. You could make like phone calls like once or twice a day. Like I was in freaking jail. And so I wrote down like a couple friends' numbers, and I have my parents' numbers memorized, but I was just flustered, so I wrote those down too. Wrote a couple other things down. And then they took my phone. So I couldn't even tell my parents where I was. I mean, I'm sure they kind of explained it to them afterwards, but I had to call them and tell them. Okay. Anyways, when you walk in, the door's open, I'm just bawling, obviously, super upset, and everyone that's in the psych ward just turns around and looks at you as soon as you come off the elevator. And when they pushed me in the wheelchair, they made me go to the front desk, like I said, and give me all the belongings away. And that's when I was told. They brought me to a small little room and made me fill out a whole bunch of paperwork that I didn't read because I was bawling and hyperventilating, like, where the heck am I? And that's when they told me that I was going to be in there for the next 72 hours. My days at the psych ward are a little bit hazy, because it was like 2 years ago, but I have a terrible memory, but from what I know to be true is, it was the start of a new beginning for me. When you're in the psych ward, they kind of treat you like a prisoner, like I said. Open showers and bathrooms, you have to pre-order your food from the cafeteria, you have no TV, and absolutely nothing to do. They told me you can walk down the hall like 50 some times to make a mile. And guess what I did? I did that. And if you know me, I do not like to exercise, obviously. And I did that, like, all day. Unless it was time to eat. And even then, I didn't even eat. The food was gross. It's hospital food. It's not good at all. The only things they give you to do are coloring with crayons, which is terrible because I hate coloring with crayons. I like fine point markers. I'm picky, whatever, I don't care. And the first night I got in there, the psych ward people had already eaten dinner and lunch, and I wasn't given any food in the hospital. So I had to sit there and wait, and they don't have like any snacks or like anything like that. So I was starving, didn't have anything to drink. They had a water fountain. I didn't have anything to eat. They just made me wait there and put in my order for the next day. So, I don't know about you, but if I think I want something 24 hours, I probably won't want that. So, that's fun too. You just have to put up with it. But the food's nasty. I was like, well, let me get some coffee. Coffee is water. It's so gross. It's not good. It's like, if you're going to hold me in this jail, you may as well give me something to eat that's good. At least give me something to look forward to at the end of the day. And when in the psych ward, they're supposed to have therapy animals, but the way I was staying was like a Thursday through Saturday, and the animals didn't come until like Tuesday. So like I didn't even get to see the therapy animals, so like, not even fair. I regress. Anyways, so while you're in there, you do have some group therapy sessions. But since I was being forced to stay, I thought I may as well go. There's nothing better to do. So I went. There was a girl in there who told me, you don't have to go to those if you don't want to. And I was like, how long have you been here? And she's like, 3 weeks. And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I'm trying to get out of here. I'm going to everything they tell me to. You get me the heck out of here. I was like, I'd rather eat ramen than this nasty food. That was my main thing. Nasty food. Some of these people in here were crazy. I was terrified the whole time I was there. You have to sleep with your door open. I hate sleeping with my door open. And you have a roommate. I don't know this lady. And all she did was stay in bed like all day. And then she'd get up and just stare at me. And it was terrifying. And I was like, I couldn't barely sleep. Anyways. So I went to group therapy. The first group came and went. I sat and I listened, but I really didn't say anything. And I didn't think I really needed to say anything. I don't like group therapy anyways. I don't like talking in front of people. Especially about how I feel. They start off a session by saying, why are you here? And a lot of people are like, suicide, or I came here on my own, whatever. And I was made to tell a group of 10 plus strangers that I tried to kill myself. I had to say, hi, like you're in AA. Hi, my name's Sarah, and I tried to kill myself. The chaplain, who was the guy who led our groups, he was like an older guy, probably in his 60s, tall, white hair. He looked pretty nice. he would pry and ask why. Why are you there? Why'd you try to kill yourself? Which I thought, well, I don't know. I think I'm not good enough or never will be. I have low self-confidence. Which he asked again, why? And I probably would have, well, I always have. I've never found myself attractive or smart enough. And then he looked at me and he said, there's always a deeper reason. How have you ever been abused? And I was like, well, everyone always thinks that when something's wrong with someone. Has anyone ever been abused? I was like, I've never been abused. I was so offended. I was like, no. I have never been abused. Why would you ask me that? It's like, what the hell was he thinking? After group, I kind of ran over that conversation over and over my head in my room because I couldn't sleep, like I said. And I was like, what could he be talking about? I was like, what could he be talking about? I've never been abused. I was raised in a good home. Never been abused. Like, what? And as I'm sitting there kind of thinking about things and thinking about different conversations we had in group, and I was like, then a bolt of lightning hit me. And I knew why. I tried to kill myself.